3 fighters that will be new champions in 2023. 2022 was a phenomenal year. We saw dominant champs, we saw dominant champs lose twice actually, we saw incredible performances, and overall 2022 was a jam-packed year for the UFC. But arguably most importantly, what we learned and what we saw in 2022 was a bunch of different fighters rise in the rankings and turn into legitimate championship contenders. And in this video, we're going to go over 3 different ones that I think have legitimate chances to be champions in 2023. But quickly, before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm Juicy MMA. I make opinionative MMA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. But anyways, let's get into it. With all the talent that the UFC has acquired over the years, but more importantly over the past couple years, it was really difficult to pick only 3 guys that I thought would be champs in 2023. But out of the 3 fighters that I picked, I'm very confident in all of these guys to become champs in 2023. And at the bare minimum, I would say at least 2 of these guys will become champs in 2023. But the first fighter that I want to touch upon is Cheeto Vera. Now Cheeto Vera has been in the UFC for some time now, but he only got real recognition after his Sean O'Malley fight. At that time, he was seen as somewhat of a can that they were just handing to Sean O'Malley to beat. But after Cheeto did very well in that matchup and continued to win after that, he really started to make a name for himself. And after impressive victories over guys like Frankie Edgar, Rob Font, and also most recently Dominic Cruz, Cheeto has really taken his game to the next level, and a lot of people, including myself, will consider Cheeto at this point a legitimate title contender. But the question is why? So of course I touched upon his most recent victories over impressive guys, by the way, but it's not only the fact that he was winning against them, it was the way he was winning. It's pretty clear that Cheeto has a ton of power, either in his hands or in his legs. Cheeto does a really nice job at staying patient and downloading data from his opponent. That's a big reason why in the first round or the first 2 rounds, he usually starts off somewhat slow, but in the 3rd round and going forward from there, that's when he downloads his data and really starts to figure out his opponent. And if Cheeto figures you out, it's probably over from there. He's so good at finding his opponent's timing, and when he finds that timing, he utilizes it perfectly by getting knockout finishes. We saw that specifically in the Frankie Edgar matchup, as the fight did progress, Cheeto found his read, which was up the middle, and he utilized it with a perfect front kick to the face knockout. We also saw it as the fight progressed in the Rob Font fight. Although he didn't get the knockout, he was very close multiple times in that matchup, and most recently against Dominic Cruz, we also saw that as well. As the fight progressed, he found his read, and he kicked Dominic with a perfect kick to the head. So a huge reason for why I think Cheeto Vera is going to be a champ in 2023 really comes down to a bunch of different things, but mainly 2 different reasons. The first reason is the power that he has both in his hands and his kicks, but also his fight IQ. The fact that he's able to download data in the first 2 rounds, but then not only download it, in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, he's able to capitalize on that, really just makes him that much more dangerous. That kind of style is a championship style in my opinion. We see another guy in his division, Petr Yan, do a very similar thing. He downloads data in the first 2 rounds, and then in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, after he figures out his opponent, he dominates. But the difference between these 2 guys, at least in my opinion, is the power. Cheeto has a ridiculous amount of power, and the fact that he does have that, and the fact that it travels with him throughout an entire fight is so dangerous. And in my opinion, I do think he's such an amazing fighter, and he will be a champ in 2023. Now, he has an incredible matchup coming up against Corey Sandhagen, which I'm extremely excited about, and I think it's going to be an amazing fight, and I think the winner of this matchup is probably going to get a title shot. Now, a lot of people think Corey is going to win this matchup, and of course it is a very close fight. Corey could certainly win this, but in my opinion, I just think Cheeto is going to be a little bit too good. Now, early on, I could see Cheeto winning the first 2 rounds, maybe even the first 3 rounds, but as the fight does progress, I see Cheeto either winning the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, or I see Cheeto getting a knockout in the 4th or 5th round. And as I touched upon before, if Cheeto is able to win this matchup, he has to get a title shot at that point. How could you deny him? But the next fighter that I wanted to touch upon is Brandon Moreno. So Brandon Moreno has been really good for a really long time. He's been a champ before, he's an interim champ currently, and overall he's accomplished so much throughout his career. But at this point, I would certainly say he's at the prime of his career. And he already has a title matchup booked against Davison Figueiredo soon in Brazil. And this dynasty between these 2 guys has been incredibly close every single time they fought. So of course this most recent matchup that's coming up is going to be very difficult for Brandon Brandon Moreno to win, but at the end of the day, I do think Moreno is the better fighter out of those two guys, and I do think he's going to be able to find a way to get it done. And the reason why I think that is he's extremely balanced. On the feet, he has an incredibly quick jab, he has great head movement, he has great speed overall with his hooks, his uppercuts, he can switch stances whenever he wants with a left or right straight, he has really nice kicks to the legs, really nice kicks to the body, as we just saw in his most recent matchup against Kai Kara France, where he was able to throw a perfectly timed body kick that ended up turning into a TKO for him. But besides that great stand-up ability, Moreno is also arguably even better on the ground. He has tremendous jiu-jitsu, as he actually did submit Davison Figueiredo in one of their matchups in the past. But besides that, he's just incredibly good on the ground. He has a great chin as well, he has great cardio, and overall I do see him as a champion in 2023. Now the last fighter that I want to touch upon is Glover Teixeira. Now the story of Glover Teixeira has been extremely inspiring. The fact that he's 43 years of age and he was able to get the belt recently over Jan Blachowicz was just incredible to watch. And in his most recent matchup against Yuri Prochazka, that was an absolute war. Many people expected Glover to get knocked out in maybe the first 2 rounds, maybe the first 3 rounds, but the fact that Glover not only hung in there, but he was actually winning in the 5th round, and if that went to decision, he probably would have won it, just shows the mental toughness that he has, and how good he is as well. On the feet, Glover's fantastic. He has a really nice jab, he has very powerful hooks and uppercuts especially. He also has a nice ability to throw the right straight, and overall he just has a ton of power on the feet. He has an ability to throw some kicks, but mostly on the feet he's a boxer out there. Now on the ground, this is really where Glover excels. He has tremendous jiu-jitsu, probably, actually certainly the best jiu-jitsu in that division, and he utilizes it very perfectly. Not only does he look for submissions, he also looks for positions as well, which is something that a lot of fighters don't necessarily do all the time. A lot of times fighters are only looking for submissions out there, even if they have great jiu-jitsu, and really they give up positions that they shouldn't. But with Glover, that's something that you rarely see. Now we actually did see that somewhat in his most recent matchup against Yuri Prochazka, where he was looking for the submission where he probably shouldn't have, but that's more of a rarity for him. That's not something you see all that often, and I wouldn't expect it to happen in his next fight. Now after a very weird situation with the light heavyweight division, Glover Teixeira is actually going to get a title shot for the undisputed belt against Jamal Hill. Now this is a matchup that actually Jamal Hill is favored in, but in my opinion, I think Glover Teixeira should be the favorite. Now on the feet, it's very dangerous of course with Jamal Hill. He has a ton of power, and of course he's going to be faster. But I think if Glover can successfully get the fight to the ground, he's going to dominate, and I could see him easily getting a submission from there and being a champion once again. But that's certainly going to be a matchup that's very close in my opinion, and I'm really excited for it. But that summarizes the video. Those are 3 guys in Glover Teixeira, Brandon Moreno, and Cheeto Vera that I think are going to be champions in 2023. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think these 3 guys have legitimate chances to win the belt in 2023, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, check one of these 2 videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out guys.